Hello, welcome on in. Today I'm talking about anxiety and just seeing if you are affected by anxiety, what you can do about that. So the thing is, we all have anxiety at some stage in our life, and anxiety is a natural part of life because it is a natural part of the fight or flight reaction. So what we want is we want to be able to experience anxiety when it needs us to get out of a situation. Say if you're walking down the road and a car comes hurtling down the road, you need to have a reaction to get you out of that specific situation. But other times when we might feel anxiety, maybe in general, could be for big events, for things like public speaking, for deadlines for work. So it's those kinds of situations that little bit of anxiety can help to move us through that situation and help us along in that situation so that we can be successful at what we're doing. But when anxiety becomes a problem is when it's continuous, is when it's persistent, is when it becomes this constant worry about everyday situations, that it takes over our life. And there is that real consistency and it comes out of nowhere. That's when anxiety can be an issue in taking over our lives. And when I have spoken to clients about their chronic anxiety issues that are going on, they tend to say that they have trouble living their life in general because the anxiety can impact their everyday life and can stop them from doing normal activities that they might do each and every day. And that's when it takes over your life, and that's when we need to really do something about it. So it's estimated that 1 in 6 Aussies suffer from anxiety. So that works out to be at 17%, according to the Australian Institute of Health and Welfare. And women are 2 times more likely to suffer anxiety than men. And in America, the statistics are showing it's about 31% of Americans. So both in Australia and America, the statistics are quite high. The number of people that are suffering from anxiety is quite significant. And anxiety can come about from previous traumas, significant events, chronic stress, and even some disease conditions. And I'll talk about that in a moment. But if you're suffering from anxiety, some of the symptoms that could be presenting can be the heart palpitations, the tightness in the chest, the increase in heart rate, increase in sweating. You might feel restless, wound up on edge, can't manage to just sit still or feel like you're in control of your body. You might feel easily fatigued or have difficulty concentrating. Might have some digestive issues as far as bloating, needing to race to the bathroom as soon as you eat something, feeling like there's an impending doom happening around you, or feeling powerless. Might even feel a bit irritable and snappy to those around you. But it is about this, there's a feeling of this sudden intense fear, and the anxiety attacks can just start with that, this sudden intense fear that comes out of nowhere. You might also be struggling with headaches, with muscle aches and pains, trouble sleeping, so trouble either going to sleep or waking up during the night and struggling to get back to sleep. Or you might feel just that there's an overall sense of not feeling calm and not feeling like you're in control of your life. And like I said, anxiety attacks can occur without warning. You can be driving. I've had clients where they say they're just driving down the road, either driving to work or driving to their next task that they have to do for a day, and then all of a sudden the anxiety is so overwhelming that they need to pull over to the side of the road to be able to take control of the situation. And so that's when it becomes overwhelming and it interferes with the life. And even there's some disease conditions, like I said before, there's some disease conditions that can have anxiety as part of the disease process or the symptoms for that disease, and some of those could be heart disease, diabetes, thyroid disease. So whether it's an underactive or an overactive thyroid, both disease conditions, including Hashimoto's, can have anxiety as part of the symptom picture for that. So sometimes anxiety can be a key pointer to some of these disease conditions, especially the underactive thyroid disease. Can be that there's adrenal dysfunction. So before I said we might have some chronic stress that could contribute to anxiety conditions. So when there's chronic stress, the adrenals can become overwhelmed. Maybe adrenal fatigue is starting and we're needing to have a look at supporting the adrenal glands. Some conditions like Parkinson's and dementia can have an anxiety condition to them in the initial stages. And then other conditions like irritable bowel syndrome and fibromyalgia. So you can see from this list of disease conditions that it could be, I'm going to say, quite prevalent. Anxiety can be quite prevalent along a lot of different disease conditions. And the diseases that I've mentioned are nowhere near complete. There's so many other conditions, but I was just trying to give you a picture today of how these conditions can have anxiety as part of them. And sometimes when you're feeling anxious, it could be an indicator of something else that's underlying. We also need to have a look at gut health. So having a look at, when I said the IBS, it can be that there's other disease conditions, even the celiacs. So having a look at the gut, that's the digestive issues that are going on there. But fear not, their help is available. There are ways that you can take control of your life again, rid yourself of the anxiety and really take control. You're not at mercy of anxiety and you're not a prisoner to these symptoms, because there's a lot that we can do. Some of the things that can be done to help reduce down the anxiety attacks and to help take control is things like exercise. Regular exercise, there's a lot of research showing how regular exercise can help with the endorphins, which are the feel-good hormones of the body, and can reduce the overall stress state of a body. So some regular low-intensity exercise is a great thing to incorporate into your daily routines. Think other therapies like meditation, active breathing techniques, active relaxation techniques are all supportive to helping reduce the anxiety response that's going on. But there's therapies like hypnosis and emotional freedom technique, or EFT, or otherwise known as tapping. Both of these therapies have also been shown to help to reduce anxiety. There's a lot of clinical studies around both of those to help to show how they've been helping. And I've been finding that in my clinic as well, that it's a great way just to help to work through some of the underlying reasons as to what's going on and give yourself a different strategy. And then talking about strategies, looking at stress management strategies. Like I said at the beginning, if your anxiety is because of a chronic stressed state, and let's face it, there is so many people stressed around the world at the moment because of the last few years of what we've all been through, just because of current life, the demands on everyday woman to keep up with everything going on. So looking at stress management techniques so that you can take control of the day and less likely to get into a state where we elicit more of these stress chemicals like the cortisol and the adrenaline. But then also looking at reducing caffeine and alcohol. I find in so many clients that caffeine especially can really heighten anxiety. So it's really important to look at, do you have any caffeinated beverages, and even alcohol at the end of the day to help you wind down. That can set you up for the next day to feel more anxious. But looking at gut health, I mentioned it before, gut health is extremely important to help with anxiety. 70% of your serotonin can be derived from the microbes of the gut, so it's really important to have the variety and specific microbes of the digestive system to help balance our brain chemistry, to help balance those neurotransmitters so that we don't have the flare-up of the anxiety and that we feel more calm in general. So I find it's part of not my everyday protocol, but it's my protocols for everyday clients to really look at their gut health and to put specific strains of probiotics into the gut to help them feel like they're in control of their symptoms and rid themselves of those anxiety symptoms. But then we can also use some herbs. Herbs have got a reputation of helping with the nervous system, helping to calm the nervous system, helping to support the nerves, but also to balance, again, the serotonins, all of those neurotransmitters, the dopamine, the GABAs, all of those to help support a calmer state in general. Also looking at supporting the adrenal glands. I did say before, adrenal dysfunction can be one of the conditions with anxiety, so looking at supporting the adrenal glands, that they're not feeling so overwhelmed and so burdened regularly. So there's some key nutrients that are great to support the adrenal glands. But then also looking at nutrients in general. So specific nutrients, magnesium, vitamin Bs, they can all help with supporting the nervous system in general. And then looking at thyroid function. Like I said before, anxiety could be one of the key indicators that a thyroid disease is there is some subclinical hypothyroidism or hyperthyroidism going on. So anxiety can be one of the key symptoms that you might see before the disease is diagnosed. So really checking out the thyroid functioning, checking out the hormones, and also checking your blood sugar levels. And by doing all of this, it helps us to understand key factors and looking at anxiety from a holistic point of view, rather than just going, let's suppress it with a medication. But let's look at balancing the body and turning off the why this is happening. So if you're suffering from anxiety and you're wanting support, I'd be happy to help you using the herbs, the nutrition, hypnotherapy, EFT. We've got all of that here to help support you in your journey. And if you're wanting to find out more, connect with me. I'd love to have a free clarity call so that I can work out with yourself how we can best work towards reducing your anxiety and kicking it to the curb. I look forward to seeing you next time. I'm Teresa Todd, Conquering Health Naturopath and Biochemist. Bye for now.